Hello, everyone. Whoever is here, if you just want to say hello. I'm sorry it was a little bit delayed, but YouTube told me that live streaming wasn't available. So maybe there's just so much happening on the channels that I couldn't open up. But I welcome all of you that are here. And for those of you that have listened to any of my other ones, you will know that you're welcome to comment and just say hi. It helps to know who is watching and that I'm not all alone, but at the same time, you don't have to. Sunflower, hello. So what am I going to talk about today? Well, hello, Roxanne. I don't think I'm alone when I say that things are really, really speeding up, churning up, and exploding. Hello, Lauren. Hey, Isan. Thank you. Welcome to everybody here. And I pretty much have spent the whole day rambling in my head, rambling things over, streaming information in to really clarify what it is that I needed to share with you today. Hello, Kaylee. But there seems to be one thing that I need to focus on quite strongly. So I'm hoping that you're going to get some benefit from it. I really set the intention that this information comes through very clearly, that I'm clear in my own mind, that I'm open, that I can just pass on with the deepest and open heart and connection to source. And this comes from a place of having experienced things in my own home this week. And we can't deny what is happening in America, right? Because not only the COVID is coming, but a whole lot of other things. Hello, Celeste. Welcome. I'm so grateful, actually, that you all take the time to come here. So I was talking about what I'm going to talk about. But actually, you know what? First, let's just take a few deep breaths, right? A few long, deep breaths. Just really inhale and then sigh or shout or just no one's listening to you. You're listening to me, but just really inhale and just exhale. Just to, hello Zoe, just to bring yourselves into the present moment as much as possible. Because the title of today's talk, and I will put it in the video description once I'm finished, is how to hold compassion when there is conflict, uncertainty, and chaos. And when I got that, I was like, oh my God, how do I talk about that? I mean, that is just such a huge, huge topic and a very difficult one to discuss at this time. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit. You will see that I've changed the title of these live streams to Teachings from the White Rose. Now, those of you who have worked with me know that I get a lot of information during the day, but also I work a lot in my dreams. And about a week or so ago, I got a very strong message. The symbolism of the white rose, I got shown this huge tome. I got given the word sacred, and I got a whole number of goddess names following that, which I don't need to share with you. But in essence, hello Maya. In essence, I was given a very loud and clear initiation, go ahead, to actually start teaching more openly, which of course I have been doing. But the human part of me was like, oh, can I really take on this responsibility? Because it's a big responsibility when there's so much stuff out there. But the message was so loud and clear that I took a deep breath and I stepped into it. And well, here I am. I'm going to encompass these teachings under that sacred symbolism of the white rose, and I'm sure I'm going to talk a whole lot more about those teachings around that and what it means for spirituality and the unfoldment of spirituality. But today, the topic, compassion when you are surrounded by conflict, chaos, and uncertainty. Now, a bit of my home news background. I have always approached chaos and uncertainty and conflict from the place of a peaceful and calm heart. That's kind of just who I am. And maybe that's just my way. And when I was growing up, I kind of thought maybe it was a coping mechanism. But now that I'm near 53, I understand that that's just who I am and that's just the vibration I hold. But the people around me let's just say that they saw this as an inactive state, as someone who kind of is not raging, who is not screaming, shouting, who is not actively getting engaged in what is going on in the world. So I had to defend myself in a way because things got quite heated, right? We're all around the dining room table, which is where we discussed quite a lot of life's problems. And I had to step back and say, right, accepting everyone's views, is my way of being, is my way of approaching this really the correct way? And so my internal answer, of course, was yes, because it was right for me. And it may not be right for you. But what I'm going to discuss today is around the first step to remaining, and I'm going to check my notes because I wrote a lot today, to remain calmly embodied as a spiritual being. Now, this does not disregard our humanity, and it does not disregard all of the emotions we may feel. But as an energy healer and a spiritual teacher and guide, it is with my energy and vibration that I work first and foremost. So on pondering this question of how we remain calmly embodied, because we also want to be embodied, right? We don't want to be up there with the angels saying, well, we're just hovering over here and we're kind of looking down on what's happening on earth. That's not how we're going to change things either. We need to be embodied. We need to be present. And I'm sure many of you, on taking that breath or trying to spend some time taking that breath during these times, your physical body is probably feeling quite uncomfortable. Right? Say yeah, boy, if it is. I have N number in my house who are feeling nauseous, who are feeling tight on their chest, who have scratchy, itchy throats, right? Because our physical body and embodying that spirituality is difficult right now. Why is it difficult? Because we retain trauma in our body. So the first step then to actually being able to hold a calmness as a spiritual being is for you to feel safe in your own body, in your own experience. And if you do not feel safe in your own experience, you are going to see everything out there as unsafe too. And it's going to be very, very difficult to remain in this calm presence, right? How do we go about getting to a place where we are able to calmly embody that? Is with self-awareness. And I know this is maybe, an extension on the words as within, so without. But it's true. It's the truth. The only way we are going to be able to change the world is by looking internally at how safe you feel in your internal environment. And if there is something coming up for you that triggers sadness, that triggers anger, look into that aspect of yourself that is holding that frequency too. Because I can guarantee that if you're feeling extremely sad, you are sad inside. If you're feeling extremely angry, you are angry inside, right? And I mean, I experienced this. This is my human expression. I'm not the spiritual guru. I have a human expression. I was angry at defending a line of belief that I had because I was triggered by something that happened with my own father, right? So I had to take that away and say, right, okay, so what is it that triggered that? I didn't express it because I'm not good at expressing anger really, but what is it that triggered that? So if we are to hold a vibration of compassion in a peaceful and calm way, in an embodied way, then our first place is to examine how safe we feel in ourselves. And how do we examine that? We go down an avenue of self-awareness, right? Now, here comes the big one, because this is the one that's not so easy. If we begin, thank you, Celeste. If we begin to do the self-awareness and to really start to feel those things, which isn't easy, I'm not saying it easy, it is easy. But if we examine that and realize that we are unkind to ourselves, then being unkind will create an unsafe environment and will disable us from being able to be in a peaceful, compassionate place. Because why? because we don't have compassion for self. We don't have compassion for self. How can you be safe in your environment if you are not kind to yourself, if you are not compassionate to yourself? So you can go out there and be activist and whatever it is you want to do and post petitions and statements. Absolutely, yes. But in tandem to that, please, 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 spend some time in silence, in solitude, in connection with your breath, so that you can create a safer environment so that you are not suffering. Here's another big one. If you are suffering internally and you're trying to hold a space for someone out there that's going through stuff, you are going to step into their suffering too. Right? So your first place is to undo and detach from any suffering that you are holding internally, because you won't be able to hold a space of peaceful, calm compassion for someone else if there is suffering inside. You're going to step into the suffering. And what happens when we step into the suffering? When we step into the suffering, we exacerbate it. We grow that vibrational field, because everything is energy and everything is a vibration. So if we want to change the world, we need to start changing our internal vibration and work strongly with the heart center, because this is going to be a very powerful center in future. And I'm not just talking heart chakra. It's more than that. Okay, today I was writing in my notes about the spiritual heart, which is something very different to the vibrational, emotionally tied heart chakra that has been documented. It's the spiritual heart that is the all-encompassing field. So I'm going to let you think about that while I check the comments, and I haven't got my glasses on. Maya, how does this relate to feel sleepy but not really wanting to fall asleep and then not sleeping deeply? Well, yes, Roxanne too. I agree with you. Do for others. So the sleepy bit. All I can say about that, Maya, is that the energy out there is tumultuous, chaotic. Okay, let's say chaotic. It is angry. It is vibrating. It is exploding, right? I can guarantee that all of you are having hectic dreams. And actually, if there's one thing that so many people are waking up to, it's the reality that we are all connected. We might be here in South Africa, but we're feeling that wave of anger and hate from America. I have American clients. They are struggling. They are telling me they feel the hate in their bones. Okay? So that is energy being ripped, being pulled, being thrown up into the conscious field that we are all feeling. So, Maya, your comment is then we are all on edge. No one is really resting deeply. Well, if someone is, please put up your hand. I'd like to know how you do it. I was visiting the aliens last night, or rather they were visiting me. But the point is that no one at the moment can deeply rest, because no one has achieved that level of internal calm and compassionate detachment where they are not engaged in some kind of suffering with the world. Sorry, it's difficult to let go of stuff. To me, how do I do that? That's a tough question, Sharik. And I hear you, because my personal experience, I grew up in a violent home, right? And you might be young and it's a process, it's a journey. But it is a journey of actually saying and taking personal choice and responsibility for how you choose to experience your personal environment. And when I say personal environment, I'm talking your head space, your behavior space, your heart space. So if, Sharik, you can move to a place where you begin to look at your internal wounds and hold them with compassion. And in some instances, it might be that you have to be your own parent, right? That you recognize that your qualities would have been fantastic if they had been reflected to you by a parent, but that wasn't your experience. So in order to create a safe internal environment, one needs to be compassionate towards self. One needs to work diligently, and it does take work on self-awareness to really become clearer about what this environment looks like. And the only way to that is breathing, is being in silence, and is being connected to God, however you describe God to be. Because if there's one thing that's very clear to me in the views that my videos are getting, and especially my one particular video with thousands from America watching it, is that this opening, this crying for no reason, this opening of the heart center that is causing sadness, crying, turmoil, a whole lot of stuff, is actually being touched by the divine. It's a light, call it what you want, a higher vibration of love and connection that has come in, and it's opening you up. And when you open that up, by God, you're going to feel some sadness, because we all carry sadness from previous lifetimes, from this lifetime, because the underlying thing is the concept of abandonment and feeling alone. But if one can actually be diligently prepared to move to a way of being a calmly embodied spiritual being, then we put the belief in a part or an aspect of ourselves that we don't necessarily, or we haven't had enough teaching about. We haven't been encouraged to explore that aspect of ourselves. We haven't been encouraged to look at ourselves as vibrational beings. Celeste, I'm going to look at your point. I feel like I'm listening to myself talk because I told the universe that's what I'd like to have right now. Okay. Well, I'm glad, because I share knowledge that is universal, right? It's not necessarily that I'm the one guru. I'm just a vessel for this. And my intention is that I can be a vessel for the highest truth and also for the most simplest truth, so that you can take it and apply it to your life. I don't want to offer teachings that you really are kind of over your bed, I'm stuttering today, above your head, and you can't implement them. I don't want that. I want you to be able to, at some level, say, aha, that is my next step. And even if your next step is making time each day to sit in complete silence, to take a deep inhalation and just sigh out, because that takes you inward, that takes you into yourself. And in the beginning, it might feel freaking uncomfortable, and you may not be able to do it for very long. But if you continue doing it, and you have a book and a pen by your side, and you connect with your higher self and God, however you want to describe it, it is the very beginning. Roxanne, if we remember that we came here to learn through our parents' tough family, it might remind us of the opportunity to learn about ourselves through them. Because invariably those people who bring, or who are part of our circle, bring to us our biggest teachings. It's not an easy truth to take in. But if we can start to begin to look at that as a reflection and say, well, this is what was brought to me. How am I going to respond to that? You know, in the same way with everything that's happening in America, and please, this is not a judgment of the people who are taking violent, aggressive action, because that country is in trauma. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if every single member of that country is suffering from PTSD, or there's an embedded trauma in there, deeply, in all people, both sides, deeply embedded trauma, right? So that is an initial response. But in responding violently, we are not changing the energetic environment. And that's my belief. It may not be yours, but violence begets violence. There is never a place for violence unless you're protecting yourself from a hungry dinosaur or someone else. Yes, but that's not violence. That's protection, right? So in us dealing with these very, very difficult times, and they are, make no mistake, this is the one thing, right? I was like, I don't want to underplay this stuff, because there's big stuff happening out there for everybody. In all of the clients I see, we can see what's happening in our country. We see what's happening in other countries. People are dying. People are more than stressed. People are anxious. People are depressed. It's hectic out there. And that's why this one point I wanted to get across today. If you are going to walk this spiritual path, if you are going to, and you want to walk this path of awakening, of becoming a lighter, more connected, more compassionate human being, because that's what the spiritual path is about. It's not about going up there and never coming down. Then it is going to take a level of self-awareness that is going to take you progressively through things very quickly, that will show you where your self-hurt is, where your unkindness to yourself is. Because let's go back to that point. Self-awareness is the very first step to spiritual unfoldment. And if you become self-aware and you realize you're unkind, then you are suffering inside. And the first suffering you need to remove is the suffering internally. You may not be able to do that on your own. You might want to seek out a healer, a teacher, a guide, a compassionate friend, a compassionate parent, right? But do what it is that is necessary to allow you to move to a place where this internal world at least feels safe. At least feels safe, right? That your internal world feels safe, because if you are not safe here, you are going to reflect that out in the world, and you are not going to be able to remain in a peaceful, calm, compassionate place, because you are going to engage suffering with suffering. And it's the hardest thing, right? How you remain calm. Or am I then less compassionate if I don't get embroiled in someone's drama or suffering? No, absolutely not. As a spiritual, energetic, vibrational being, you are doing the absolute best if you are working on your vibration so you can shine the light. Oh, look, I'm getting all hot and heated on the subject. So that safety inside is the first step, right? So showing compassion in a world that is chaotic, that is in turmoil, and that is uncertain. And that maybe takes me back to one thing I wanted to say, that at the very beginning of this year, there was some very simple guidance I received. And make no mistake, I didn't come into this year feeling comfortable. Heading towards the end of last year, I knew something big was happening. Fortunately, Spirit kind of saved me, protected me from all the details. But the one detail I did get about the oxygen mask: self-care, self-nurturing. Self-care means self-awareness, unraveling that stuff, making the environment safe. Maya. Yes, Maya, I agree completely. So people can read the comments. I'm not going to repeat it. But in this time, it is about connecting to the divine, connecting to your God, whoever God is for you, remembering that you are just a vessel and you are channeling that energy. The only way the angels can work on earth is through you. The only way God can work on earth is through you, through your heart center, right? So apart from the self-nurturing, the second small insight I was given, short insight, was expect the unexpected. That is going to continue. We have to accept that in whatever way is possible for you, is that the unexpected is going to continue to happen again and again, because the whole world is being shaken up. Everyone is being told, wake up, wake up, wake up. Right? But, and here's the good but, the final information I got given, and I've experienced this myself in the first 3 months of the year, so I know it's a truth, is that whatever is happening that is bad, no matter how bad it is, good is going to come of it. Because we are divinely supported, because as a conscious field, humanity has decided enough is enough, and we can see that. And we're having people like Blessed Soul George, who basically martyred himself for the cause, who offered his, part of his contract. And I know people may not probably go along with this, but he offered himself up as a catalyst for change. In the same way that locally we had Nene, same thing, catalyst for change. There are these people, these absolute saints across the world who are offering themselves up as catalysts. In Nene's case, it was for gender violence. That's one of our issues. In George's case, well, I don't need to tell you what that's about. It's going to happen that you're going to have those shining, beautiful souls who are going to say, I'm going to be the catalyst here. So the fact that we're dealing with that, we need to hold on to the truth that good is going to come of this. And this is where I got shouted down at the table, because I have some people who maybe don't have the same hope or don't have the same belief that I do. And that's okay. They're entitled to that. And maybe sometimes I can be seen to be a bit utopian. But that is because of my belief and my faith, what it is. And I don't need to share that with you today. So for each one of you, apart from the self-awareness, which is the first step to any spiritual unfolding, and to create a safe environment internally, then please examine what your belief is and what you have faith in. I didn't think I'd be talking belief and faith again, but I am. Energetically, belief is your power source. It is what you are tuned into, and it engages with you. It gives you life. It gives you passion. It gives you drive. And where is your faith in that, which is the alignment to your belief? Because in this day and age, we are being asked to become more spiritual, to become more aware of our interconnectedness. And what, here's another maybe controversial thing, but me too, Maya. But this situation, whatever is happening, and there's more that's going to happen, cannot lead to further segregation. It cannot. We have both sides, and we're being shown the light and the dark and the good and the evil. But let's not continue from a place of duality in that, of segregation. Because there is pain in everything. There is suffering in all of it. Right? So to hold your own inner space with love for self, with compassion for self, with you stepping into a place of what is my belief? What is my faith? Am I this divine being? Yes, you are. Then use that power, which is stronger than any human power, stronger than any mental thought. Use the power of your spiritual connection to change. Yeah, completely. Rashmi, I agree with you, and Roxanne. So I don't want to keep you all for longer than I have to. And I think I've got a poem I wrote at the beginning of lockdown, because Sharik, this is maybe for you, and maybe you want to read the poem afterwards. I'll leave it in the description. But because of the environment I grew up in, and I'm 53 now, so I've done a lot of work, right? Lockdown sent me straight back to a place where I was not safe in the home. And I got this sense of, oh my God, here I am. I can't go to the forest. I can't go out my fence. And I have a safe home now. I'm blessed. But I didn't then. So I went straight back to that 7, 8, 6, 9-year-old, where swimming was my thing and walking in the mountains was my thing. That was my escape. And suddenly I couldn't. So that fear and panic stepped right in. So I'm not immune to that. But what for me was the biggest realization is that, okay, I feel safe. What is it within me that still needs to be worked on, that still needs to be loved, that still needs to be compassionately held? And maybe it is your 6-year-old, maybe it is your 8-year-old. Hold them. Love that. Right? Move towards creating a safe environment within your field through your belief and faith, through your commitment to self-awareness, so that you can hold the space from a calm, embodied, spiritual place. And look at me. firing up. Clearly, the energy coming in is so strong and powerful. Of course, I am 53 and going through menopause, but anyway, that's beside the point. But that is the energy, right? It's light. It's actually, and maybe let's talk quickly before I let you go. It's not a calm, saintly, I'm not going to say anything space. It is a warrior-like force of love, because love can also be warrior-like. It doesn't have to sit in the background. We have this warped sense of what love is. Love is really connection to yourself, your heart center, to spirit, connection to all beings, and the knowledge that we are all one field of consciousness. We are all one field of consciousness. I think I've said all I need to say. I'm going to open my window quickly so that I can get a breath of fresh air. So I thank you all for being here, and deeply, deeply grateful that you listen and that you give me your time. And if there's one thing that I wish for all of you and for all of humanity, is that if you can all begin to see the power you hold in your own heart, if you can all begin to see the potential that each and every one of us has to change the world just by shining our light, by being truthful to who you are, by working on your authentic self and finding out what that is, by creating a safe environment within your field where you offer yourself kindness and compassion. Offer yourself kindness and compassion. And from that place, you open your heart and you step out into the world. So I thank you so much for coming. I will keep doing these if you find them useful. Please email me, send me a WhatsApp, whatever it is, if you want to connect and engage. If you didn't want to say anything private, on these comments, send me an email privately. My details are below this video. And please subscribe and hit the notification and share if you feel this was valuable. It takes a while for the live video to load up, but it should be available by tomorrow morning for those that haven't watched it now. And I send so much love. If I can be a vessel of that divine and you feel it, then please feel it and know that I see you all. Okay. I wish you love. I need to go and feed my family now, although maybe my partner's doing that for me. And let's all pray, intend, offer a blessing, whatever it is you want to do, that our world will change, that good will come from bad, and that we will move to a place where we realize we are all part of one field and our actions, thoughts, behaviors impact that field. So thank you and much love to you, and we will connect again soon. Have a blessed, blessed week ahead. Bye for now.